I'm an INFP as well, and over my 20s and the last 10 years, I tried so many different things, but I only really accomplished a few. And I always felt like that something was wrong with me, or that I'm doing something wrong, or if I could just find this one thing and go really hard at it, then suddenly my life will change. Or if I just find my passion, then I will follow through and I will go for it. But I realized that all of these assumptions are pretty much wrong. There isn't anything wrong with me. I don't need to find this one passion, and I don't need to have just one interest and specialize in it, because I realized that my approach was just not the right one. And over time, I figured out what actually works for me and what my process is that allows me to actually start stuff and also finish it, instead of just starting a bunch of different things and only really completing those projects to about 60% and then moving on to the next one. And then after 5 to 10 years looking back, that you started so many different things, but you didn't really achieve anything. And in my case, for example, I started a lot of different things, as I already said. I tried building a YouTube channel multiple times during my life, especially starting around like 2019 or something. And I had like two different pushes where I did it. One time where I was doing vlogs, and then later on I did something because I started a meditation coaching. I got really into meditation, and I went to a few retreats in Thailand and stuff like this, and the United States. And I started coaching and teaching people on meditation and stuff like this, and did this for about, I'd say like a year or 1.5 years. But then I stopped this as well, and then transitioned a little bit. And other things I tried an Amazon FBA business where we bought these shakers in China, and we only sold, we ordered 1,000 and we only sold, I think, like 200-300. This had multiple reasons as well. We also weren't really that disciplined enough and that focused, since we were like students and kind of not really going too hard at it. I also tried building my own e-commerce store. I only got it to like 10K per month in revenue, which isn't too high. I also did DJing for a while when I was a lot younger there. I had a few gigs in some clubs in my local area, but then stopped doing this as well. But then over time, I actually found out what gets me to start things and then stop doing them at around like 60% or so. And I changed things around a little bit. I got really obsessed with the gym, and I first lost like 12 to 15 kilos or somewhere in between. And then I got really into bodybuilding, and I did this for multiple years. That was my physique at pretty much, one of the peak levels. And you can see this is not what you do in a year. That was like 4 or 5 years of really consistent focus and work. I also got really into dating and pickup and approaching girls on the street, which I did also for multiple years. And I got really good at it since I approached my girlfriend on the street as well. I don't really have a picture of it, but I also started an agency. I got really good in copywriting and writing like meta ads and things like this. And I got this to around like above multiple six figures. And and also then once I had the income, I traveled to like 40 countries and stuff like this. And the question is, what was the difference between these things I started and didn't really complete, and the things I started and I really followed through with it to about a level that I feel really proud and accomplished of, okay? And where even other people come to me and ask me for advice. Like, I had so many friends that were making fun of me because of my physique and fitness, because I was a little bit chubby before. But then I got so into it, and I built up this physique that everybody just asked me on how to train and how to eat and how to exercise and do all these different things. The same for dating and pickup. I still have people and friends coming up to me like, hey, can you give me some tips? Can you help me with this kind of stuff? And with the copywriting in general, I mean, people pay me for this. And what was the difference? So the main difference, let's go through this, my process. And number one thing is actually to have the meaning behind it, okay? So I noticed that whenever I started something else, and that was kind of the process before I would just jump into anything, pretty much. I saw something online, I saw some friend talk about it, or I heard someone or someone recommended it to me, and I pretty much just like, oh, this sounds nice, I feel excited, this gives me some dopamine rush, let me jump into it, let me just start it. Okay. And I pretty much immediately started something the moment I heard about it, I've seen it, and I got excited. And since I was very easily excitable for new things, and especially if someone sold it to me in a nice way, I would just jump on it and I would try it pretty much the next day. But since I wasn't really having any meaning behind it, any logic behind it, any thinking behind it, and I was just jumping in it, and my reasoning was pretty much just, oh, this guy told me about it, or this sounds really exciting, or I saw this online and this guru that is really successful, he's preaching this, so I should be doing this. Well, no, I shouldn't be doing this, because why am I even trying to do this? And the thing with these other things here, or let's say like these three to four things that I really followed through and got really good at it, is I didn't listen to some advice online. It was some thing that came up from inside of me. So with the fitness, I had a really strong meaning and motive behind it. My why, so to speak, was very strong. Okay, that's why I followed through. The same thing with the dating and the pickup. I had a really strong why. Nobody sold it to me. I saw that it aligns with my values and it has a really big meaning to me, and that's why I want to do it. So it didn't came from the outside world, it came from inside. And most of the time when I didn't complete anything, it came from the outside. Okay, and that was the main process, and which I use now much more intentionally, is to actually go back and realize and figure out what my values are, and then to actually look, okay, what kind of goals can I set that will allow me to achieve my values? Because the end goal is not to make a million or anything. Because why do you want to make millions? Because you feel like you're going to feel different and you're going to realize and fulfill your values, the things you value most in life. And for some people it's freedom, and they think, and there's certainly some truth to it, that if I make a million, I will feel free and I will finally realize my value of freedom. Okay. And for me, for example, one of the values is I want to be the best for me. And once I gotten in contact with the gym, I realized, dude, if I push hard enough, I can be the best here. And that's why I did it. And that's why I did it for so long. For example, another value for me is being different. So I want to go my own path. I don't want to copy other people. I want to do my own thing, which is unique and has my own imprint on it, my fingerprint on it. When I started the e-commerce stuff, I did dropshipping. And dropshipping is pretty much where you just find something that works online and you pretty much copy everything and you run it for yourself and see if you can get sales. And if it doesn't work, you move to the next product and you try the same thing again. And that was grinding my soul, because I was obviously not fulfilling my biggest value of being different, because I was just like everybody else and copying everybody else. That's why I stopped doing it over time, because my values weren't aligned. Same thing with the pickup and the dating stuff. One of my biggest values is belonging and connection. Obviously, if I go out and I approach a lot of people and I learn how to socialize and do and learn social dynamics and talk to people and be really good at conversationalists and getting to know people, that aligns perfectly with my biggest value, or one of my top 3 to 5 values, of belonging. Since I did this for multiple years as well and pursued it. Same thing with the agency. Freedom is obviously a big value for me, but also being different and being the best. They are all aligning with me writing copies, because I can be the best. I can be really different in the way I write these copies and I approach these and how I express myself in the written text. And the belonging part, it depends on what kind of clients I work with. If I work with clients, I get this sense of belonging, then it's amazing. But I also had clients where I didn't feel it and I kind of didn't really push hard enough and I didn't follow through with it. So the key takeaway and my process now is to always start with my values. Never with the goal, never with where I want to be or what I saw online. It's like, okay, what are my values? Okay, those 4 or 5. What kind of goals can I set in these areas of life? And there are multiple concepts you can take. I boiled it down into 8 different areas of life. You can do 4, you can do 6 or 7. There are multiple onlines you can find if you just Google how to categorize your life in areas. And you ask yourself, okay, what kind of goals can I set that really align with my values and give me or allow me to fulfill the values I really want to feel and experience in life? And then you go for them. And I'm pretty sure, and I can guarantee almost, that you will follow through with them because they align with yourself and they feel true to yourself. That is the thing. As an INFP or ENFP or all these emotional personalities, you often feel like you're not being true to yourself and you do something that doesn't align with yourself and that doesn't feel like you. That's because you didn't align it with your values in the first place. You just saw someone making money with an agency and you felt like you need to start doing an agency as well, or you saw some guy being really good artist and you felt like you need to do this as well. That's the wrong approach. Obviously, of course, you're not feeling like yourself. But if you're like, hey, those are my values, that goal would really align with myself and I go for it. Then the second thing is to build good habits. And that sounds very basic. But as an INFP or ENFP or any of these, you get excited very easily. And this excitement often leads to you starting really, really strong. So for example, if this is like time, okay, let's do T, and this is energy. Most INFPs and ENFPs and all these other personality types, they start like this, okay? They go really hard in the beginning, energy is high, they push, and then it suddenly drops and you stop, okay? Even goes negative because you start feeling shitty and guilty because you don't do it anymore. This is not a good approach, and I did this in the beginning as well. With the YouTube, I went really hard. The vlogs, I stayed up to like 2 a.m. in the morning, editing my vlogs for 8 hours and filming then the entire Sunday, stuff like this. And I only did it for about a few months because I couldn't keep up this level. And I also started too strong. It was too much work for me to actually catch up with it. And same with other things as well. And what I learned and what my process is now is to start as small as possible. What's the most minimal viable step and action I can take in order to start this up, okay? And then it's like this. You start small, and over time it's gonna turn into an exponential curve and it goes like this. And it's very different than the usual approach, but if you start doing it like this, you're gonna stick to it very long. For example, with the gym, I started super small. And in the beginning, like this, looking like this wasn't even on my map. My goal was to just lose like 10 kilos or something, or 15. And I started super small, just tracking my calories every day, just changing one meal, changing 2 meals. Maybe I can change 3 meals. Then I went to the gym 1 time a week, 2 times a week, very easy, not hardcore workouts, just like 30 minutes. Then I got it up to like 3 times a week, then 4 times a week. Then I pushed the times. Okay, let's do 60 minutes instead of 30. And over time, this built up where at the end, was I going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. I was eating super clean. I was tracking my calories all the time. I was always cooking and meal prepping and stuff like this. And really pushing hard in the gym every time, putting on more weights, more reps, stuff like this. And this built in a really strong habit that even now still serves me 10 years later or more. I don't even know when this started. Okay. And same with business or the YouTube right now as well. I upload every single day, but I do it very low effort. Then I do it a little bit more. So I build a strong habit. I'm not doing the same mistake I did here as well, where I start super hard and then I do it and I stop. Okay. Yeah.